frontotemporal dementia, and mixed dementia. Each type of dementia affects a person and brain cells from working properly in certain areas. Dementia is a term used to describe symptoms such as memory loss, confusion, and problems with speech and understanding. Dementia is not a normal part of aging. Dementia is progressive, which means that most symptoms will deteriorate over time. Mm. You go. Okay. You got to know. So how dementia affects the person. Everyone's dementia is unique, so it will vary from one person to the other. So we can't compare journeys, but what the most common symptoms are or side effects of dementia is dementia will cause individuals to go through several changes. These changes trigger a decline in cognitive abilities. Dementia will also trigger behavior, feelings, and relationships. So some of the other symptoms are memory loss, thinking speed, mental sharpness and quickness, language such as using words incorrectly or trouble speaking, understanding, judgment, mood, movement, difficulties doing daily activities. So now we're going to discuss how caring for someone with dementia can affect the carers. Dementia can affect all aspects of a person's life as well as those around them. Caring for a person with dementia is unlike caring for someone with any other condition or disability due to the complex, unpredictable, and progressive nature of dementia. For some carers, when research was done with Alzheimer's Society, expressed their feelings. So this what I'm going to say is all based on research that we found. Carers can be socially isolated. Caring for a person with dementia can affect the health and well-being of family carers. Family carers sacrifice their own well-being to ensure their loved ones have the best care possible. 9 in 10 carers for people with dementia experience feelings of stress or anxiety several times a week. 80% of carers find it difficult to talk about the emotional impact of caring. Many carers find it difficult to access any help and support. Nearly 40% of carers surveyed provide round-the-clock care, and many struggle to take out time for themselves due to caring commitments. Alzheimer's Society research finds that carers often struggle to open up about how they feel because they feel like they're expected to just get on with it. 60% of carers surveyed experience feelings of guilt when seeking support. Carers of people with dementia have told Alzheimer's Society of how they have struggled with exhaustion due to countless sleepless nights. Please comment below what some of your experiences have been as carers, and if you would feel comfortable opening up and seeking support, and if not, why don't you feel comfortable, seeking support so we can hopefully, prevent these things from happening and, provide everyone with the support they need. Now I'm going to talk about cultural stigma because there is a lot of cultural stigma around seeking support, or like I said previously, when research was done, some people, carers, don't want to seek support because they feel bad or they feel guilty. So what we're going to do is just see what I found with the research. So dementia is misunderstood and highly stigmatized in the UK, Black and minority ethnic communities. Dementia stigma is the cause of why there are many delays in seeking help. Family cares of older Asians with dementia also appear reluctant to seek formal support, even those supporting relatives with very advanced dementia tend not to receive any input from services. Cultural stigma is society's shared negative beliefs, prejudice, and discriminatory structures that affect people seeking help, which also the cultural stigma includes the public health of dementia, includes the public fear of seeking support. This is just extending on from that. Depending on a person's culture, they may have different beliefs, traditions, and ways of providing support to a person with dementia. For example, in some communities, The memory loss of dementia is seen as mental illness. Culturally, it may be seen as a normal part of aging and no one worries about it. Whereas what I discussed earlier, dementia is not a normal part of aging, so it is important to seek support. Some might consider dementia something to be embarrassed about, or simply dementia may be viewed as God's will, and others may be more likely to think people with dementia need to take herbal medicines. Currently, people from BAME communities are underrepresented in services, and they are often diagnosed at a later stage of the illness, or not at all. There is evidence that minority ethnic tribes are more likely to be isolated from mainstream services. So this is why we want to help everyone, and I'm just going to explain now how we can help. So we can help from the assessment and diagnosis, throughout the assessment and diagnosis process. You don't have to have a diagnosis to come to us. We can support you throughout the whole journey and provide you information and emotional support. And then we can also help with planning ahead, see what things you might have to consider, see what things you might have to get in place, whether this is home adoptions or going to local groups or helping any family and carers getting stuff in place for you. We also help with power of attorney or death certificate. We also help with benefits such as attendance allowance, service allowance, council tax reduction. We also have services which we can refer to and signpost on. We're very close with Derbyshire Care Association and Adult Social Care, ACK. There are several services that we are involved with, which together we can provide informative and collaborative approach to getting the right support for you. We also have memory cafes, service support groups, and singing for the brain, which is a massive success at the moment as well. And this is where you can come and come to a group where there's other people with dementia, carers, and you're all in the everyone which you can relate to, talk to and be prevented from social isolation. Now I'm going to just go through a case study with one of our dementia support workers, and hopefully this will demonstrate to you how we provide support throughout the referral towards all throughout the end of the support. So in this is what we're going to do. In June 2021, we received a referral from Mr. P's son. He was concerned that Mr. L was living alone and somewhat isolated, living in a smaller area, having no social contact during lockdown. Having contact, Mr. L disclosed he found managing his home life challenging. Mr. L found the ability to follow conversations challenging. He could not retain information and was feeling confused and anxious when speaking and listening. Mr. L wanted support with managing his dad's input for his house and garden. His ability to fill out documents and post was also declining, especially in relation to legal matters. He wanted to find out what benefits he may be entitled to. He needed support with health, in particular leading a healthy lifestyle. His hearing and eyesight was also an issue for him. He wanted to start being social again, as he advised that he felt that his motivation has been impacted. So I'm going to discuss the actions taken by my colleagues. So due to the financial issues, we made a referral to the Citizen Advice Bureau so they could support Mr. L with applying for attendance allowance and then council tax regards. Legal issues. Mr. L had a draft LPA and draft word that he needs to read and sign again. Mr. L will do this with the support of Ian, which was his one. How for the health, well-being and social, Mr. L would be interested in cognitive stimulation therapy that starts in August 2021. So my colleague helped Mr. L organise this and get this in place for him. Mr. L also missed going out countryside walks with his friends. So my colleague suggested that when COVID rules are being relaxed, Mr. L could contact his friends and go on walks and pub lunches. With driving, Mr. I was concerned about his driving, worried that he would not be able to drive as he lived in quite a rural area. So my colleague suggested that Mr. L inform the DVLA and advises them, tells them about their diagnosis and see what would happen and what the DVLA would advise. So what happened after all of my colleagues took these items, what happened? She was able to take out all of the issues she was worried about. So the Mr. L, he was worried about his home and cleaning and keeping on top of baby's house. So it was my colleague agreed with Mr. L to increase his weekly cleaning visits to 2 times a week instead of one. For family issues, he encouraged Mr. L to communicate his needs and wants to his family to curb the feeling of loneliness and isolation he has. For communication, Mr. L consented to Mr. Ball being copied into all future communications from organization and services as a memory aid. Home and garden were issues that Mr. L was worried about. Mr. L and Mr. L's son, they're going to work together with regard to the maintenance of Mr. L's garden. He suggested that both of them work on the garden together as they both like garden and this will allow them to bond and for their relationship to get better. For the health and well-being concerns, my colleague advised Mr. L that he was to speak with CT in order to check his hearing to make sure there was no blockage. And for the eyesight issues, my colleague suggested Mr. L to get letters printed in larger writing so that he can see it better and hopefully this will um, make him see and understand things better and avoid the trouble that he has to face with his eyesight.
Yeah, just to say,
Yeah.
I found a vibe. I just wanted to say that obviously this happened over a period of time. Didn't all just happen at once because that's not what our service tries to do. Our service is an ongoing service. So what I like to say to people when we have a referral is that we will be with you from the beginning to when you don't need us anymore. I think it's quite important having looked through that case today just to mention that because I think a lot of the fear that people have when they're referred to a service such as ours or our sister services is that we'll do one thing and then we'll just disappear. And that isn't the case. We may close the case down when you don't need anything specific, but we do review calls, we do catch-up calls, we do well-being calls. During the lockdown, we were in constant contact with a lot of our service users. So we don't just disappear, we stay with you. We might test you once a month or a little bit less than that if you tell us not to. But we are with you until you don't need us anymore. And I think that case study just highlights, how much we are willing to do and how much we can do for you.
So you are willing to answer any questions that you might have from, going through these slides. If you want to pop down any questions in the comments and we'll answer them as we go. But any questions at all, even if it's not related to this position, if you have any fears, any doubts, or anything about the services, just pop them below and we'll answer them as soon as we can. This is how to contact us. This is our phone number. There's always a direct support worker that will answer. We work Monday to Fridays, 9 to 5. And you can always email us on our Derbyshire inbox as well, which we reply to pretty fast as well.
I just wanted to say as well, with the phone number, and I have to say this because I keep having to say it to the referrals that come in. We're not in Derby, we cover Derbyshire. We don't cover Derby City. So if it's the case that you still want to talk to someone, by all means, please contact us. But it may be that we have to refer you to Making Space, who is the service that covers Derby City. Because I do have quite a lot of referrals when I ring them going, oh, but your number's the Derby number. Don't be put off by that. Give us a call anyway. I've got the question on the screen if you want to. Sometimes we have a comment, you can see it on the bottom of our screen. Sometimes caring for a family member with dementia is so overwhelming that the carer finds it difficult to approach for any help that they might be entitled to. How to encourage members of the MA community so that they feel confident to ask for support and practical help.
Well, I know myself coming from an Asian background that, culturally we are expected to, look after our family, which is right, everyone does. But that you need to also take care of your own health and well-being, and when that's impacted, I think the person with dementia won't benefit from your health deteriorating as well. So what I would say is you're not doing anything wrong by asking for help. It's what you're entitled to. And there's a lot of support because your life is improved and so will the person with dementia. So as well as so when you think, okay, I'm caring for this person and you're thinking for their best interest, by seeking support you're also doing it for their best interest. So you're not doing anything wrong. You're just getting more support and until you don't realise how much support's out there, you won't, there's more support out there than what you're probably providing for the person. So I've had so many services just come and say, thank you so much for like this. It's been an insight into how much support there's out there. It's opened so many doors for me because it does get a lot and it does get a lot for one person to handle all the responsibilities of caring. And if you're burnt out, that won't help anyone. We want both the carer and the person with dementia to have good quality of life. So I think when you think about seeking support, just know that you're doing this for the person with dementia's best interest and yourself, and you'll both benefit from it, not just the carer. Can you think of anything, Lucy?
I think obviously my background is quite different, so I don't have experience of the issues surrounding the BME communities. I do know that I come from come from a family of incredibly stubborn women, and I know that I would be the last person to ask for help, to be honest. But I do think that our service is sort of there to empower carers and to make sure that their lifestyle doesn't change too dramatically as a result of the person's dementia diagnosis. I think it's really important to, as if we said, to maintain your well-being because yes, you're caring for a person, and yes, that person might have changed, but that doesn't mean that your emotional and mental health should change too much or should be impacted as we've seen with some people. I think with our service as well, we mentioned before that we like to sort of get in there, like pre-diagnosis, just so that we can provide that emotional support because the assessment process itself can be quite emotionally draining to the person and the carer or family member. So we like to just make sure that they're aware of services, sort of preempting that they might need. You might not need it. You might not need it for a long time. Dementia doesn't change you overnight. But what we want to do is just make sure that you know who to contact and when and what for. So I think from my experience personally with dementia and professionally with dementia, it is just about knowing who's there, to speak to. And I wouldn't be put off either by worrying about confidentiality because obviously there's protection. We keep your details safe and secure, and also the phone calls that we have are in private as well. So at the moment, it's quite ideal because we're all working from home, so that will ensure that your conversation is confidential as well. Unless you have a nosy cat like me who likes to poke his nose in. But no, like please feel that you can come and talk to us, and we will do our best to help you. And if we can't, as I said before, we can refer and signpost you to other services.
And then I would just like to add, you would also take in your cultural and religious beliefs with respect to them, and we'll work in aligning to them. So we won't do anything that against your culture or your religion. We work with them beliefs. So we do treat everyone from like individually. So we won't be doing anything against the culture or religious beliefs. So it's like working together in a team that something that works for you. It's all about what you want and what will work for you. So that's why I would say it is good to seek support and when there is so much out there. Hi there, where can I find out more about the Singers of the Brain series? Is it, is, can you see my presentation?
Yeah,
Yes.
basically, if you want to ring through to our office number, we will be able to contact the lead for the Singers for the Brain sessions. Currently they're online, but we're looking to move them to face again. But obviously, in terms of groups as well, not just Singers for the Brain, we do like to get the coordinators and the leaders involved as well. So we'll often ask if they can contact you and talk you through the process of booking in, the process of joining online if you can, and obviously to update you as and when face-to-face services come back. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. We really hope you do come out and seek support and contact us. And if you have any comments or questions, please do comment. We will be replying to them. If not, just give us a call or email them. Thank you. Bye.